Good morning, ninth grade. Wednesday morning, ready for 9.8 in your math. And we are again going back to dividing polynomials. And we're doing it with missing terms. So you look at your first example there, they worked out that first problem. They didn't give you many examples today. They just gave you one. The reason is this is really nothing different more than the missing terms. You can see how they did it. It might be well for you to go down through there and step by step. I want you to, I can say the word right, specifically look at, there we go, specifically look at when they subtracted a number, how you have to change the sign. Okay, anytime you have negative and positive numbers, you subtract the negative number from positive, you have to change the sign. And they did an excellent example in the book of marking out the signs and changing it. So I want you to look down about the fourth, fifth, sixth problems. Every time they subtracted, they marked out the positive and negative, and I will try to do that for you today as well. But before we do that, you know, I told you yesterday about Newton, how he went home and he went to work. Well, you can think, oh, he just did schoolwork. No, he did extremely important studies that still benefit us today. Look at his law, and you see those guys there pushing that Land Rover or whatever, that Jeep out of the mud. Look what his law, Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia, states that an object remains in motion or at rest unless an outside force acts against it. Now it looks like that Jeep is at rest and there's an outside force, and guys have all crawled out. There are outside force pushing. That's a good illustration of his act. Try to stop a moving object or move a heavy object, and you will feel the effects of this law. You will feel the effects of inertia if you try to move a big couch in your living room, or if you try to push your house down by hand, or whatever. If something's moving, say for instance your car is rolling toward you, and the motor is shut off and it's rolling toward you, and you try to stop it, you're going to have to push quite. You hope it's not rolling too fast or you won't stop it. It'll roll you over. Anyhow, that's Newton. Now tomorrow we'll talk about another one if I don't forget it. His second law of motion. Today we are going to do number one, and I have put it on the board. So I copied x negative 3. I put in pink the ones I had to fill in. So how did I know how many to fill in? It's a duh question, but I'll go ahead and explain it because it's important. If you have an x3, you know you have to have an x2 and an x and then your whole number. So in your problem you had x3 plus 2. So any number that you didn't have in here, you have to fill in with a 0x to that power. Okay? So I knew to put 2 in here because I had an x3 and I didn't have anything to my last term. So in this number I had to add 0x2 and 0x. And now I just start multiplying just like you've always done before. I asked how many times does x go into x? So I'm saying, how many times does 1 go into 1? Well, that's 1. And by the way, there is one of you, and I'm going to call your name out here. You set up and pay attention. You do not put 1 in front of these numbers that come out with x. I graded a test or a quiz this morning, and they had 1 in front of these guys. I put a red mark through it. When you have only one exponent, you do not put it there. Now, a 0 you have to, because it's nothing. But here, this is 1x. This is 1x. And so I went x times 2 is, you see it's negative 2, so I had a negative number. X times x is x3. See, it's x2 here. I knew what to put up here because of this exponent right there. Can you see that? That exponent is x2, so I knew I started out with 1x. No, you can't put it. Remember, I just got done saying it. You want to put it though, don't you? Now I subtract this problem, and when I subtract, I have to change the subtraction. This is a negative, and this is a positive. Okay, you combine 0x, there's nothing to do there. You just simply move your 2x down here. Now I bring this 0x down. Okay, I asked myself, how many times will 1x go into 2x? 2 times. That's what I put up here, 2x. Now I multiply 2 times 2 is 4. and it's a negative and a positive, so I have a negative 4, and I use the x symbol again. 2 times 1 is 2x squared. And I do this subtraction problem again. It's just a repeat of every time, just like division. Now I change this here. I would make this a negative, and I would make this one a positive. Okay, 4x and 0x makes you positive 4x. I didn't put the positive sign there, but you know it's positive. Now I ask the time, how many times will 1 go into 4? 4. So I put 4 up there. 4, 2 times 4 is 8 negative. And 4 times x is 4x. So I got 4x. I'm subtracting now because I'm subtracting again. I change my sign and I change my sign. 0, negative 4 from positive 4 is nothing. And 8 is I use the addition rules, like signs I add, use the same sign. So I have 10, remainder 10. Pretty easy. This is fun. It kind of seems like they've kind of backed off a little bit, and now that you've learned the hard stuff, and now they're just teaching you some easy stuff. Let's move over to number 3. Okay, again, I did the same problem. Can you see number 3? Oh, you maybe can't see the answer. Oh, well, you don't need the answer. Well, sure you do. I added, it was 4y4. Now look how many I had to add this time. I had to add a y3, a y2, and a y. Okay, do you get this concept? To know how many you have to add depends on what your first one is. And then you'll always have to count back to nothing. And so pay close attention there to know how many zeros to add in there. You have to put a space for every one, or else you can't, or you'll get a wrong answer. Okay, so I had a 4, so I had a y3, y2, y, and then 1, which 1 was in the book. So I'm dividing y. I asked how many times will 1 go into 1? It's 1. I chose this one because of all the y's. It's really no hard. It's not, I mean, it's really no figuring. It's not hard to do, but I'll watch you watch my steps. Okay, so y3, I put it down times 1, makes me y3. You can put the 1 there if you want to. Oh, no, I said don't. Don't. y3, and so I'm positive. Now I subtracted, so that makes me a negative. I take the positive sign away, makes me a negative. Well, negative y3, I bring down to 0. I ask how many times will 1 go into 1? Oh, I got a negative sign here, positive, negative, so that puts me a negative y squared. Now, I go 1 times 1 is y, and 1 times 1, wait a minute here, I'm backing up. I got lost, back up here. How many times does y go into 1? It goes into 1 time, and it's a positive into a negative, so I have a negative number. Now I multiply. Y is, I brought down a 0, y times 1 is y, negative, and then y times positive is negative again, and so I actually forgot to put the negative sign there. Now I change this, and I subtract. I have positive, positive, and that eliminates this one, and I come over here, and I bring down my y3, or y2, sorry. And now I bring my 0y down, and I say how many times will 1 go into 1? It's 1y. I do that, y, a y squared. I subtract, which makes me a negative, and a negative here, negative y. I bring down, now I have a 1, bring down a negative 1, y, negative 1, and I multiply that times 1. I say 1 will go into 1, and I subtract. 1 times 1 is negative 1. 1 is negative 1, and then I subtract, so that would make me a positive 1. You know, I put 0 there. I wonder if I did that right. That's correct. It's y. It says 0. It says 0, so I have negative y. Oh, sorry, it's negative. Now I make them all positive, and that does make it a 0. That's right. Okay, I could do another one on the first page. It seems like those are pretty easy. I'll let you do those. Let's go back here in the end of the lesson. They've got a couple problems, and I'll do one more there. I think it is problem number 44. I'm not sure. That was 1 and 3, and this is 44. That's at the back of your book, or no, it's the back of your lesson, I should say. And I will do that one. You do not need to do extra practice. I thought about doing one of the extra practice, and I thought, no, that won't make you happy. So I'm trying to make you happy today. How do you like that? I hope you still get the lesson, though. And you have 9x cubed plus 9 divided by 3x3. So 3x plus 3, 9x cubed, so that's 3. So put a 0x2, a 0x, and a 9. Ready to go. How many times will 3 go into 9? 3 times. You always put your x squared. You're a positive, that makes this a positive. 3 times 3 is 9x squared. 3 times 3 is 9x cubed. Now you follow along here because I may make a mistake. I may do it unintentionally and I may do it intentionally. Okay? So as soon as I make a mistake, you raise your hand. Okay, so or holler or something. Okay, so I have got, whoa, this is one mistake I made. 3 times 3 is 9, so I should have a positive 9. And 3 times 3, and I should have a positive 9 here. Now I subtract, and so automatically I change all these signs. That's a negative 9. This is a negative 9. Okay, negative 9, and I combine these, that's into here. I bring down here is a 9x squared. With me? Did I do that right? Yes. Okay. I bring down a positive 0x. Okay, I ask myself, how many times will 3 go into 9? You're going to say 3 times. And I use 3x. 3 times 3 is 9x. 3x is 9x squared. And I'm positive. Whoa! Why haven't you said something? I'm in trouble right here. I wrote down the 9. I forgot. Now that was not intentional. That was not intentional. You was waving your hands back there and I wasn't paying attention. Sorry about that. Next time I'll pay attention. But this is what happens. When I bring down a 9, 3 into 9 makes me a negative 3. Okay, let's get some things turned around here. 3 times 3 is negative 9. And 3 times 3 is negative 9 squared. Woo! See? I told you it's tricky. Now I'm ready to subtract this problem, so I change all these signs. Positive 9x eliminates that. 9x from 0 makes me positive 9x. And I'm bringing down my plus 9. Now I ask myself, how many times will 3 go into 9? Pretty hard, but since you don't know, I'll tell you. Oh yeah, you know that. No, it's going to be a positive 3. 3 3s are 9, and they're positive, and 3 3s are 9x, and it's a positive. And now I subtract, so that means I change the sign. I'll just erase part over here. Negative 9, I combine these terms, that's 0 and 0. So my answer is 3x squared, negative 3x, positive 3. Now let me check that out. 44, can't find it. 44, 3x squared, negative 3x. Yes, that is the correct answer. Have fun. I don't know that I need to tell you anything else. You enjoy your lesson, and I'll be back tomorrow.